The Daily Bible in chronological order. Trial before Pilate. The significance of what is about to happen can only be understood in the context of the political relationship between the Jews and their Roman rulers. The Jews have condemned Jesus to death on the basis of their own religious laws against blasphemy, in response to Jesus' claim to be the Son of God. But the Sanhedrin has no power to execute condemned prisoners without approval of the Roman government. Yet clearly, such a pagan government will not regard a charge of blasphemy with the same degree of seriousness as do the Jews. Therefore, more appropriate charges will have to be laid before the governor. Being politically astute, the Jewish leaders will accuse Jesus of sedition and allegedly urging refusal to pay taxes and claiming to be the king of the Jews. The man to hear these charges is the Roman procurator and governor Pontius Pilate, who rules over Judea, Idumea, and Samaria. Pilate began his rule about the time of John the Baptist began his ministry, although his primary responsibility is that of financial administration and collection of taxes for the Roman Empire. Pilate is also burdened with the responsibility of approving and carrying out the execution of anyone sentenced to death by the people's own government, in this case the Sanhedrin. Pilate has a reputation for unprincipled capriciousness, and the manner in which he handles Jesus' case gives no reason to doubt the truth of that reputation. Apparently convinced of Jesus' innocence, Pilate initially takes every available step to avoid personal responsibility. He sends Jesus to Herod Antipas, beheader of John the Baptist, but Herod wants no part of it either. Pilate then tries to release Jesus, but the mob insists that the notorious insurrectionist by the name of Barabbas be released instead. When even a scourging of Jesus fails to placate the crowd, Pilate finally washes his hands of the matter and orders that Jesus be put to death. Matthew's account begins the record of these tense hours as Jesus is first led to Pilate. Jesus taken to Pilate. Fourth Passover, April AD 30. Matthew chapter 27 verse 2, Mark chapter 15 verse 1b, Luke chapter 23 verses 1 and 2, John chapter 18 verses 28 through 32. Praetorium, Thursday morning. Jesus taken to Pilate. They bound him, led him away, and handed him over to Pilate, the governor. By now it was early morning, and to avoid ceremonial uncleanliness, the Jews did not enter the palace. They wanted to be able to eat the Passover. So Pilate came out to them and asked, "What charges are you bringing against this man?" "If he were not a criminal," they replied, "we would not have handed him over to you." They began to accuse him, saying, "We have found this man subverting our nation. He opposes payment of taxes to Caesar and claims to be Christ, a king." Pilate said, "Take him yourselves and judge him by your own law." But we have no right to execute anyone. The Jews objected. This happened so that the words of Jesus had spoken indicating the kind of death he was going to die would be fulfilled. Pilate questions Jesus. Matthew chapter 27 verses 11 through 14, Mark chapter 15 verses 2 through 5, Luke chapter 23 verses 3 and 4, and John chapter 18 verses 33 through 38. Pilate then went back inside the palace, summoned Jesus, and asked him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" "Is that your own idea?" Jesus asked. "Or did others talk to you about me?" "Am I a Jew?" Pilate replied. "It was your people and your chief priest who handed you over to me. What is it you have done?" Jesus said, "My kingdom is not of this world. If it were, my servants would fight to prevent my arrest by the Jews. But now my kingdom is from another place." "You are a king then," said Pilate. Jesus answered, "You are right in saying I am a king. In fact, for this reason I was born. For this I came into the world, to testify to the truth. Everyone on the side of truth listens to me." "What is truth?" Pilate asked. With this he went out again to the Jews and said, "I find no basis for a charge against him." When he was accused by the chief priests and the elders, he gave no answer. Then Pilate asked him, "Don't you hear the testimony they are bringing against you?" But Jesus made no reply, not even to a simple charge, to the great amazement of the governor.